Welcome back to Mic Drop Week 6, Season 2, Episode 5. Today we have Bassel. Is that how you pronounce your name? Yeah. Correct? Okay, yeah. Good. And we're going to do a quick interview with him, and then we're going to be at the Union, and we'll show some clips of his songs.
So it'll cut automatically. Like, yes. We can time travel like 2 hours into the future so we can get the clips that you guys playing. It'll be a good time. Yeah. So we got Bassel the Supernaturals. Here you go. You can take this mic for us really quick there.
Got it. Check. Hey.
Perfect. All right, Madeline, do you want to start off with some questions, or because we can kind of trade mics after that?
Yeah, I got it. What's the story behind your band name? Obviously not the first part, but more like the supernatural part. Where did that come from? Is there a story behind it?
Yeah, well, it's actually funny is a lot of people first ask, like, where did Bassel come from? And I'm like, well, that's my name. And nobody seems to believe it, but yeah, that is my name. So, and then the Supernaturals is, it's definitely a multi-layered meaning, but one key piece of that is just with the many things that we all balance, that we overcome, all of that for the sake of music and this passion for what we do. We're a 7-piece ensemble that travels across the country, and there's just always a logistical puzzle to solve, but nothing stops the Supernaturals.
And is there a song that has become your foundation for your other songs, like the ones that motivate your next songwriting, your next songs that you do? Is there one in specific that you want to talk about?
Well, I'm particularly excited about a brand new song that we have called Aleppo. I'm myself being a first-generation Syrian American person at a particularly intense time for the Syrian community. We do have songs that relate directly to what's happening in Syria, but they've traditionally been in more of like a sort of like a dark and contemplative space. So Aleppo is a response to that, and it is like a particularly high-energy, funky song that celebrates these beautiful positive memories I have of Syria as a child through the youthful lens and the delicious food and plates being passed to you left and right, and just celebrating the heritage of the country and the city. So to me, that is definitely influencing. It has created a template for a lot of the music that we're currently writing.
And then kind of relating to that, the answer that you gave, what message do you hope your music conveys? I know you said you write a lot about like Syria and the background of that. So a little bit about like the messages in there scattered throughout your songs.
Sure. Well, and only some songs relate to Syria. Other songs are about love or loss or all of these issues and emotions that impact all of us. And I guess more than anything, as like an overall takeaway is just that music is universal. And when people think of something like Syria, it becomes this super far away issue. I'm first generation Syrian American, so I was born and raised in Northeast Ohio. I was born and raised in the States. I'm a Midwestern guy who is also Syrian, and my family has been deeply impacted by this war. This isn't an issue that is just impacting other people. It's not just a political issue. There's so many lives that are drawn into the middle. A lot of my own family members and friends. So through this music, my consistent goal is to bring people closer to that picture and being able to personalize and humanize that story.
Nice. And then I'll have Peter.
Yeah, we can take that for sure. All right, and then the Amplify Peace Tour, you guys just kicked off. Is it yesterday?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Can you tell us just a little bit about that, a little bit of the background of how that got started, where you guys are going? I know the proceeds are going to the Syrian American Medical Society. Is that correct?
It is, yep. So this is the second night. It's a 10-city tour. So we'll do 10 nights, 10 cities, and it's 5 total acts that are involved with this. So I've been co-producing this initiative here for a while. And just been in touch with the Syrian American Medical Society. I had done a couple one-off events with them, and they were really interested in doing more of like a national concert tour to energize their brand. I mean, as being the Syrian American Medical Society, their demographic is lots of doctors and lawyers and sort of an older demographic. So through music and through a concert tour like this, they can appeal to a younger demographic and energize people around the work, the amazing humanitarian work that they're doing. And that's ultimately what got this all off the ground.
And this isn't the first time that you guys have done events for humanitarian projects, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we do a lot of events consistently with different charities. There's another one based in the Chicagoland area called Klepec Foundation that we work closely with. So they're an amazing organization. And then with a lot of different nonprofits like Amnesty International or different charities or churches and universities. We're doing a lot in the like advocacy and humanitarian world.
Yeah. And then with the tour, you guys, not only are playing music, but you guys are doing some teaching, more, teaching people about how to get involved. Is that correct, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of this tour came together on shorter notice. So, I mean, just getting the venues and the logistics of that all together has been a lot. And then just a lot of similar like interviews, like radio interviews and features that we're doing in the cities beforehand. So the vision has been to like, okay, we will also do this teaching component with a university or something, and then we'll bounce over and do this. So the ambitions are high for sure. And this is ideally the first leg of a greater initiative. So, while we're doing these 10 cities now, ideally we will do the rest of the country throughout next year and implement these strategies through and through.
Yeah. And how long have you guys? You mentioned you guys are a 7-piece ensemble. It's a whole lot logistically to get it. How long have you guys been performing together, all of you 7?
Oh, I mean, that number has varied over time. I moved to Chicago in late 2010. And that's ultimately when I started collaborating with a full band. So I was like a singer-songwriter before that, while I was like moving in different places and touring pretty frequently just as like a singer-songwriter. So I came to Chicago with a new sense of like permanency and collaborating with a lot of different artists from there. So, at first it was just working with like a couple other people with still a more stripped down vibe. And then it was like a 5-person band, and we recorded our first record. And then it grew to a 9-piece band. And then, I mean, at our album release show, like we then like featured a string section and a backup vocalist and an auxiliary percussion player. So we had around like 18 people on stage with us at our album release show. Yeah. So our touring ensemble has actually been a consistent 7-piece now for close to 2 years. This has been like a really good, consistent space for us to do a very dynamic set with a reasonable amount of people to hit the road. Believe it or not, even though 7 is still just a lot of people.
And since around that time, since you guys have been performing, has it always been the R&B funk kind of mentality? Has that always been the style that you guys performed in, or is it ebbed and flowed depending on how many people you performed with, or like you said, it was like more stripped down at the beginning?
Stylistically, it's definitely evolved, especially from the singer, like, being from Ohio. I was deeply influenced by like indie folk music, and folk and soul have like a big crossover, so it kind of transitioned its way. It wasn't determined so much off of like the number of people playing with me, but just moving into Chicago and my influences in music community evolving and shifting towards this like neo soul funk universe that we exist in now.
Yeah. Which I think is really interesting and unique with the kind of grand messages, the love, the loss, and even the more personal songs. It like that for me, I've always been more drawn to like larger ensembles, horn sections, and things like that to make things more dramatic, more emotional.
Right. Well, and it's such a powerful style of music to emotionally connect with the audience. Yeah. So a lot of times by the time we're done with the performance, we've already opened up that dialogue through the music. And
then getting back to your new song, Aleppo, I was just curious. As you write more and more, do you feel like because the Aleppo, the civil war that's been going on for years and years, since like 2012, since beyond that, do you feel like since it's, in the last year or two, since it's kind of jumped more into the American like conscious, do you feel like you've been writing about it directly more, writing about Syria more since it's become, with a travel ban and since it's, become larger in America, do you feel like you've been talking about it more directly in your music?
That's a good question. I guess it's never this like calculated, like I'm going to write a song about Syria that does this per se, A lot of our songs just come out of like we're us jamming and we come up with an idea and you feel the environment, like the colors of that music. We also have like a brand new song that's just like a straight up love song, and it just feels so appropriate for that. But naturally, just like what is top of mind throughout that creative process. And when we're working on something, we're working on a lot of like just energetic, funkier tunes that feel more in this like anthem type of vibe. So like those are good for something with this like deeper message and deeper meaning. So yeah, it has definitely carried its way into the music more directly, just because of the natural environment of my brain, and like the conversations I have with my family and friends on a day in day out basis are much more frequently centered around that. And so it reserves more space in my brain. So when I'm in a creative mode, like I tend to lean more towards that just because of what's happening in my life.
Sure. All right, thanks so much. Thanks for coming
Thank
on.
you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
they'll be at the Union today. And where else on the tour are you guys going to be going right now? What's on the block for the next couple of weeks?
So we're in Bloomington, Indiana tomorrow, Chicago on Sunday, Dearborn, Michigan Monday, Cleveland Tuesday, New York City, Philadelphia, and then we'll end with 2 shows in Washington, D.C. And then separately, we're doing a show right after that tour on Sunday in Madison, Wisconsin. So we're going to drive from D.C. to Madison, which will be kind of intense.
Ooh, busy for the next couple of weeks. And then where can they go if they want more information about donating to Syrian causes, the Syrian American Medical Association? Where can they go if they want more information or if they want to donate to causes like that?
Yeah, well, first good step always is www.basselmusic.com, which is BASSEL, basselmusic.com. And Bassel@basselmusic.com is actually my email address. So anytime people have questions, I create a space for people to be in touch and to feel free to ask any questions. AmplifyPeaceTour.com to learn more about this particular initiative. And yeah, just any social media pretty much /Bassel Music or Bassel Band.
And then if they're interested in the music specifically, YouTube, Bandcamp, where can they find you? Plug away.
Spotify, iTunes, and definitely please follow us Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Everything is pretty much /Bassel Music. Otherwise, it's /Bassel Band.
Perfect. All right. Thank you for coming by. We appreciate it. This has been Bassel from Bassel the Supernaturals. See you guys next week.
Peace.
Stay tuned. We got music coming your way. It's going to be a good time.
Let go of the ways it used to be and watch the stories die. It's too afraid of changes to join the rebel side. Keep faith